So my name is Roberto Carlos, and I am an assistant professor here at the University of Michigan. And the class we're going to be talking about that I'll be teaching is POLSCI 111, or Intro to American Government. So I am raised in San Antonio, Texas. I was born in Chicago, Illinois, but pretty Texan through and through. And so I actually arrived here in Michigan in the fall of 2025 via the University of Texas, where I was a professor last year. So this question is probably the one I'll be the longest about, so I'll try to keep it brief. But I've had a very long road to becoming a college professor as it relates to political science. So out of high school, I did a lot of odd jobs, including long-haul truck driving for 2 years, and finally decided that's really hard work. I'm going to go to school, and I always sort of flirted with the idea of being a high school teacher. So I went back to school and I got a degree to be a high school teacher in San Antonio, Texas, so degree from Texas State. And was asked to teach my second semester at teaching high school, the American Government course. And it was really fun, and the students were doing really well, but I got it in my head that if I got a master's degree, the students get dual credit, and they wouldn't have to take the AP exam. But what ended up happening is I started getting really excited about learning. I caught on with a professor during the master's program there in San Antonio, Texas. And then ultimately he was like, hey, should I do this? And he's like, yeah, you should do this. And kind of haphazardly ended up here becoming a professor of political science without really knowing what I was doing initially, just really interested in the subject and then learning what it actually meant to do that. So what excites me the most about teaching is the easiest answer that I'll give is interacting with students, right? My favorite thing is to interact with, they're not always young people, but they're relatively always young people. And they just have a lot of thoughts about the way the world works. And I think they're always kind of thinking forward and sort of pushing us to reevaluate everything. It's actually one of my favorite interactions. It's also one of my least favorite interactions because usually students are roughly the same age when they come in, and I get older and older and I realize, oh man, I'm getting older. But again, they keep me young in that regard, where you get to keep talking and hear what they're thinking. It's just one of my favorite things to do. And I really work hard, even in a large course like the POLSCI 111 course, to try to get to know as many students as possible. So I have two, so I'm going to cheat a little bit. So my expertise is political behavior, so I really love talking about how we come to think about the political world and how it is that we develop our politics, our ideas, the way we're socialized, and what that means for the way people engage in politics. But the other thing I've really come to enjoy, and it actually coincides nicely with those people who are thinking about being political science majors, is the law and court section, where we talk a lot about court cases and the reasoning. And it seems to be one of the activities that students enjoy the most, that I kind of save towards the end of the semester to really get people thinking about court cases, but also their own future. And are they looking to do this, and what does this look like? So I think what students are going to find most surprising, I don't know that it's unique to my class, but as it relates to the Intro to American Politics course, I think what students are going to find surprising, probably my course, but maybe other courses that deal with this, is how fragile this all is as it relates to the institutions that we study. When you think about an Intro to American Government course, we learned about the origins of American government and how we get here. But really, this is about a power struggle that's happening about how politics works, which is who gets what and how. And so we have these institutions that we revere, and you think about the Constitution being the oldest Constitution in the world, and yet it's also fragile, and it hinges on people being engaged in the political process, and we recognize really quickly how things can shift and change. And so one year you might find me saying, this is how we think about the world. And then the next year, maybe you have a sibling who takes the course and they're going to find me saying something completely opposite because we're trying to react to what's occurring. So hopefully if I do my job correctly, the answer is yes. And I think actually what we're going to be talking a lot about is the current environment. And, this sometimes this course is offered when there's an election season. And so trying to understand what's happening there, the politics of that is something we try to interrogate. But the other part of this is trying to understand how the world is changing in front of us. And so sometimes we won't actually have the answers, but we'll sort of try to figure out ways we can work through the answers. And so it's not necessarily specifically like you'll understand this or that. Hopefully you'll have a basic understanding about the way government functions by the time you're done. But really about how to sort of interrogate what's coming down, how we make sense of the world as it currently is. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't think of anything funny or surprising. I mean, I try to keep the class in good spirits and a lot of interactions with students, so we find out interesting things about each other. I've been surprised to learn what students think, including like they'll tell me they believe in ghosts. And well, why does that come up? Well, because you have to take the course to find out why we would talk about how much people believe in ghosts. But nothing over the top that I can be like, oh, wow, this is what's happening in the course. So a couple things. Number one, just a basic understanding of the way government functions and how we got here. So really the primary fundamental hope is that if you ever get to be on a game show and you're asked a basic question about government, you'll be able to answer that and not embarrass yourself or me as your instructor. But the other part of this is it really does get to sort of the understanding why we're seeing the politics that we see play out. And a lot of it is a function of the way our systems are built, and having a good understanding about why our systems are built the way they are and how they operate can help us sort of understand what's currently happening, or at least hopefully get us closer to understanding what's happening.